Welcome to this new automotive news video, the first one for the week of May 25th, 2026. To start the news week, we'll discuss Opel and Peugeot, who are panicking and overhauling their powertrain strategy. From Stellantis, who are copying a technology from Toyota, about a new Chinese battery that promises 2,000 kilometers of range, and about Tesla, who is stopping the sale of its autonomous driving system in Europe. And finally, we'll talk about the Lada brand, which is disappearing from Europe for good. I hope this automotive news video will interest you. If so, as usual, please show it by supporting my channel for free. You can do that by leaving a like on this video, subscribing for future videos, clicking the little boost button, and of course, leaving a comment where you share your opinion on today's news. Indeed, we're starting this week with a bit of Stellantis news, and actually, it's mostly good news. A few days ago, Stellantis held a big conference where they laid out its full strategic plan up to the year 2030. And there's something that went unnoticed and is changing. This changes a lot from what had been announced so far. It concerns Opel and Peugeot's small models, like the Corsa and the Peugeot 208. These future generations of cars were originally supposed to come out as fully electric. It was supposed to be the end of combustion engines, except that apparently the plans have changed a little. Behind the scenes, Stellantis is preparing a new platform called the STLA-1. It's a next-generation platform that will replace the three current platforms at Stellantis, which are the STLA Small, STLA Medium, and STLA Large. It's clearly an economic choice. Having a single platform instead of three to base all these models on is much less expensive. And on top of that, it gives Stellantis much more flexibility in terms of powertrains, since the STLA Small, the platform that was supposed to be the base for the new 208 and the new Corsa, for example, was only going to be a fully electric platform. It was impossible to put a combustion engine on it. With the STLA-1 platform, it will be possible. And it goes even further than just being a possibility, since Opel has confirmed that the new Corsa, which will actually be technically the same car as the Peugeot 208, and had so far only been announced as fully electric, will indeed also be available in a hybrid version. What I'm about to tell you still needs to be confirmed, but there's a very good chance that's the case. On the fully electric side, we should see the 136 and 156 horsepower powertrains that Stellantis is already using, but they will be paired with new generation batteries, LFP batteries, which would probably allow for a bit more range. And on the hybrid powertrain side, we should see the 1-liter 3-cylinder turbo, which will still be around for a few more years. That's the old PureTech, which should be available in a 110 horsepower version, but also in a 145 horsepower version. So for the Opel Corsa, it's 100% certain that it will still be available for at least one more generation, with powertrains that won't be only fully electric. And since the 208 is exactly the same car, there's a strong chance that Peugeot will also announce in the coming weeks that the new 208 won't be only fully electric, but will also benefit from hybrid powertrains, the same ones as on the Corsa, which would seem logical since Stellantis is currently focused on cutting costs across the board. It would be absurd to see Opel offer the Corsa as a hybrid and not see Peugeot offer the 208 as a hybrid, especially since the 208 clearly sells better. That wasn't the only good news overlooked at this conference. I'll share three more. The first one, well, this is more about the American market, but maybe also some European car enthusiasts. Dodge is bringing back the Viper. The last Viper was discontinued at the end of the 2010s at a time when people thought combustion engines would quickly be phased out. But that's not the case, especially not in the United States. We still love big cars with big engines, which is why Dodge is bringing the Viper back, but with a major difference compared to previous generations. Of course, the new Viper would keep the design cues of the old Viper, a very long hood, coupe shape, big air intake, and side exhaust. On the other hand, it would no longer have the famous V10 engine, but only in quotes, a big V8 engine, which apparently would get close to 800 horsepower for the base versions of this new Viper. I should point out that for now, this is a project that's still being studied. We'll see if Stellantis really takes the plunge and actually produces a new Viper to sell. But the simple fact that they're seriously considering it gives a little bit of hope, a little bit of life in this automotive world that's become pretty sad. Another piece of information that went a bit unnoticed. Actually, it's not even that it went unnoticed. It's just that Stellantis didn't talk about it. In fact, Alfa Romeo would be getting not just 2 new models in the coming years, but actually 3. Among these 3 models, there will be a new compact, or maybe a compact SUV inspired by the Alfa Romeo 147. And the third piece of information, which is actually quite important, is that Stellantis is going to start making full hybrids like Toyota. Until now, Stellantis only offered mild hybrids in its lineup, even with the iSet system getting closer to a true hybrid. But unlike Toyota's full hybrids, Stellantis isn't quite there yet. Because the electric part is still really small, with a small battery, low power, and it can't really go long distances on electric power like a real Toyota full hybrid can. The next full hybrid cars from Stellantis will truly be full hybrids. So it's true, they're waking up a bit late, 20 years after Toyota with their engines, which are still among the best now. Toyota full hybrids consume almost nothing, they're very efficient, and overall, very reliable. So they're waking up a little late, but they're making a strong comeback because they've announced that 24 full hybrid models will be coming to the Stellantis lineup across its different brands by 2030. Hopefully, these full hybrid powertrains will finally replace the three-cylinder 1.2-liter engines for good. And we're actually discussing true full hybrids, based either on the current 1.6-liter engine or rather on the Italian engines, like, for example, the 1.3-liter or the 1.5-liter Firefly, which are much more reliable. So, on one hand, we have Stellantis, which is a bit behind the rest of the world, and on the other hand, we have Tesla, which might be ahead, since Tesla is taking another step in turning the car into a smartphone on wheels. Finally, since Tesla has just permanently removed the option to purchase the autonomous driving system, the famous FSD, in Europe. It's an option that until now was sold for 7,500 euros. It was expensive, but you only paid for it once. Even the enhanced autopilot, which was previously charged at 3,800 euros and gave access to only certain autonomous driving features, has also been discontinued. Instead, Tesla will only offer this system as a paid subscription at 99 euros per month. Indeed, it might offer a bit more flexibility to those who, for example, only need autonomous driving for a certain period. It means you don't have to pay 7,500 euros all at once. Indeed, it also takes more than 6 years to reach the price of the old option. But we know how subscriptions usually work. They start off cheap. And then, once there are enough customers using the technology, the prices gradually go up. And above all, we now see manufacturers, not just Tesla, but also German brands, starting to try to charge for all sorts of technological options in the form of subscriptions. Volkswagen once considered limiting car power and unlocking it with a subscription. BMW even tried making seat heating a subscription feature. Maybe soon we'll have to subscribe to everything just to use our car's features. While some manufacturers are trying to make us pay monthly subscriptions, others are promising to completely solve the biggest problem with electric cars. And once again, this comes from China. One of the car brands owned by the Chinese group Chang'an claims to have developed a solid-state battery capable of reaching a range of 2,000 kilometers. 2,000 on a single charge, that means, to be generous, let's say 3 or 4 times more than what the best electric cars can currently do. We're talking here about a battery that apparently, if we believe the information shared by Chang'an, would have an energy density of 400 watt-hours per kilogram. That's almost twice as much as most current lithium-ion batteries, which allows for 2 things. Either indeed keep the current battery size and make electric cars that have twice the range, or make cars that have the same range with batteries that are half the size with less bulk, lighter cars, and also lower cars that regain more traditional shapes. The crazy numbers don't stop there, since Ganfeng, which is this famous brand owned by Chang'an, also claims that this battery could exceed 1,100 charge cycles. 1,000 charge is about 2,000 kilometers, you get it? 2 million kilometers over the total lifespan of the battery, which means that, technically, there will never be a need to replace it. It's incredible on paper, but we also have to say solid-state batteries for now are something of a mythical technology. Everyone talks about them, but no one actually sees them in real life. Indeed, this isn't the first brand to claim they've made an incredible technological breakthrough with solid-state batteries, but then gets stuck at the stage of mass production. Ganfeng admits that while they've developed this battery in the lab, production is currently limited to pilot lines. So even if this could be revolutionary, it's not happening anytime soon, and we probably won't actually see for another 5 or 6 years this kind of battery actually used in electric cars. Even less so in Europe, at least 5 more years. And the second question is, how much will it cost? Because if we end up with electric cars that are completely unaffordable, well, in the end, it might not be very useful to market these batteries either. There you go. We were talking about futuristic technology. Now we're going to talk about a very old, very traditional brand, which unfortunately is going to disappear from Europe, and that's Lada. So it's more of a symbol than anything else, because Lada had become very low profile anyway since the beginning of the war between Ukraine and Russia. Contrary to what you might think, Lada didn't completely withdraw from Europe at the time. It continued to be sold by importers in Europe. They gradually closed down, and the last official European Lada importer, who was based in Germany, simply went bankrupt. So unless someone wants to pick up the torch and start a business that's probably not very profitable, since Lada in Europe last year accounted for only 5 registrations, even rarer than Bugatti, it's really not certain that it's worth the effort. It's the end of a brand that still reflected some of the old automotive world. In the end, simple, rugged cars, no screens, no subscriptions, no ultra-complex software. Just cars that ran, that could almost be fixed with a hammer and chisel. And they still represented something. Not so long ago, 50,000 cars were sold per year, just in Germany about 15 or 20 years ago. It's the end of an era for Europeans, but Lada still exists in Russia. While sales haven't been exceptional in recent years and have been very low since 2020, its current status is unclear. ADA is owned by Avtovaz, Russia's largest automotive group. It will likely exist for a long time, and maybe one day it could return to Europe. That's it. We've covered all the news for today. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please show it by leaving a like, subscribing for the next videos, and supporting the channel by clicking the join button under the video. I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.